born hard of hearing, then abused, then you're lying on a beach and a lifeguard drives over your face in a 4x4, and finally you get diagnosed with cancer. You think you and I have problems? One of the most inspirational people I ever met, that was her life. Her name was Buckley, and I got the pleasure of spending time and meeting Kathy. Her story touched me so much and inspired me so much on how to deal with adversity, I wanted to share it with you. Kathy was born hard of hearing, but it was misdiagnosed. They just thought she wasn't responding, not listening, walking around, and because she couldn't hear, she wasn't able to pick up on the language patterns. See, when you and I speak as babies and we're learning to talk, it's because we're listening and mirroring back the sounds that we hear from our parents. So Kathy didn't respond, she didn't speak, so they didn't even address the hearing issue. They just put her in a school and essentially gave up on her. A few years later, they found out that it was actually a hearing issue, and they got her a hearing aid so now she could hear. And what happened then is they just put her straight into grade school without having any of the ability to have grown up as a normal child. And of course, what happens when somebody comes in wearing these funny hearing aids, they get picked on, they get abused. And she was so desperate for love, she was stealing things from her own home to be able to give to kids at school just to beg them to like her. I see so many people that are running patterns, maybe not as extreme as that, but are always trying to do things for others to get approval, connection, validation. Just notice where the parallels are sometimes in our own lives of things like this. And you'll see by contrast, our problems become smaller. But she was lying on a beach in her early 20s, and a lifeguard ran over her in a Jeep. Talk about not understanding the job description of what a lifeguard should do. That put Kathy in a wheelchair for over 2 years. They said she'd never walk again. She decided to defy the odds. She fought back. She started to really hold a space for her being able to have a normal life. At this point, she'd already tried to commit suicide over 5 times. One thing she's very happy that she failed at. At that point, when she just got back to walking, she'd overcome all of the adversity in her life up to that point, more than people like you and I usually would ever experience in multiple lifetimes. She gets a call saying she's got cancer. And she goes and has the surgery. And 6 months later, they have to give her the news that it didn't work. And she's got 6 months to live. Now, it was at that point that Kathy came to a crossroads in her life, a crossroads that I see as the demarcation point between people who stay in victim mode or who actually go on to achieve lives of greatness. And that is that they finally realize playing the victim, listening to other people's limitations, accepting that life should give me the cards I want, but it doesn't, so therefore I've just got a bad hand, and therefore I'm never destined to play at the level that other people are. That's just a story. And it's a story most people carry with them for the rest of their lives, being a victim. And as we know, nowhere in nature is victim rewarded. You doubt that? Go to the savannah and see the last meal that the lion had. What Kathy decided was, no, I'm not going to listen to that voice anymore. I'm going to go out and say, enough is enough. I'm going to take charge of my life, because if I don't, nobody else is. Sitting here and hoping that the cards are just going to land where they fall isn't working. So I'm going to shuffle the deck myself and deal my own damn cards. And she decided she was going to change her life. She learned how to communicate in a way that made people laugh. She used humor as a way to engage with people. As Mother Teresa said, a smile is the same in every language. It's the universal human communication. She decided to stand in for a friend one night at a comedy show at a local bar. People loved her. She went on to enter the competition and she won. She went to the regional finals. She won those. She actually wrote a book. She got it onto TV. She completely turned her life around. And for the last 40 years has dedicated her life to helping other people see their adversity in a different light. I'm very grateful I haven't had the levels of adversity that Kathy had, but we all have our own. I'm sure you do too, and I'm sure you know other people that have had adversity. It's part of what makes us stronger. If we're using it as a victim story to justify why we're not doing what we want to do in life, then you're going to get more. I did a video recently on the reason why people who complain the most get more of what they complain about. In fact, complaining about your circumstances is the glue that keeps you tied to them. Kathy understood that at one point and decided to let go. What is something today that you can let go of that you've been complaining about? A part of your story that you can't go back and change. Nobody can. We don't have a time machine. You don't have to go back and change it. You just need to keep walking away from it rather than dragging it around. So if you're driving through life looking in the rearview mirror, not only are you going to crash, You're going to miss the amazing scenery that is around you right now. What is it that you're going to be choosing to let go of? Leave a comment in the chat. And if you get a chance, go check out Kathy because she's amazing. But what made it so special is her ability to master herself. Not master the driving skills of the lifeguard, not master the skills of the surgeon, not master the other kids at school, but to master herself. That is when everything changed. What are you trying to change right now outside of yourself that isn't working? That as soon as you start to switch, to start to master things inside of yourself, would change everything. If you'd like to know a little bit more about that, click the link below. I spent the last 2 to 3 decades teaching people how to master their own mindset, so that no matter what's going on, no matter what your story, no matter what your history, no matter what, who did, to who, by when, it doesn't matter. What your parents did or didn't, none of that matters. What matters is how you deal with it and rise. And if you'd like to know how to do that, click the link below. I've got some incredible tools and resources for you to check out.